Yay! Oh, wow, here we are. I am so excited to be here with Zoe again. Zoe, it's just always so fun to be with you. I just love it.
Yes.
And
Yes.
recording this in really, we're in the energy of the February cross quarter, also known as M-bulk, sometimes called Candlemas. There's different ways that and today's February 2nd when we're doing the recording, so it's Groundhog Day.
Oh, it sure
So
is. And it's a leap year. It's a
yes,
leap
it's a
month,
leap
right?
year. Yeah, that there's 29 days this month, and that only
Yeah.
happens every 4 years. And
Yep,
the
yep.
reason we have a leap year is because we have 365 and a quarter days every year. And so every 4 years, they have to add a day to keep the calendar aligned in the way that it's aligned right now. And some of my some of my ways of looking at this, it's like, okay, we have this calendar. It's designed to keep our reality in a more left brain, linear kind of way of seeing things, more materialistic, that kind of thing. Because when we were in more cyclical time and looking at things from the cyclical process, then we were in a more magical world. And so
Yes.
the powers that shouldn't be wanted to have more power and control. And so they
Well,
created this calendar, they created this way of telling people what time it is and
right?
disconnecting us from the magic of cyclical, I mean, yeah, of cyclical time, of Kairos time, of time that isn't linear and
Yeah.
logical and all of that.
That's where we live, where we don't know what day it is. We don't know. I mean, we do. We know what day it
Yeah,
is sometimes.
yeah. Right. But I mean, I think about the movie Groundhog Day and they keep repeating everything over and over again. It's kind of like we're in that loop because of the way they've set up clock time and calendar time to
Yeah.
keep it very linear. Now, there are benefits. I always like to
Mm-hmm.
acknowledge the benefits. Like you're on the East Coast, I'm in Arizona. We can
Mm-hmm.
meet because we can say on the calendar, okay, on February 22nd at such and such a time, we're going to connect. So
Mm-hmm.
there are benefits to it. But
Mm-hmm.
I think it's also having the awareness that keeping our awareness in a more expanded place of realizing that there are cycles that happen every year, seasonal cycles, the cyclical time that happens every year. And so this year, according to our calendar, February 4th is the exact cross quarter. And that's when the sun reaches 15 degrees Aquarius. So it's the halfway point between the 0 Capricorn solstice point and the 0 Aries equinox point in March. So that when it gets to 15 Aquarius, exactly halfway. Now, of
Mm-hmm.
course, many cultures tend to celebrate on February 1st or 2nd, the cross quarter. But
Mm-hmm.
and it's in the window, but it's not the exact point. So just a little bit of tuning into the time.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That we're in. Yes. Yeah. So we're in this magical window, and it was the cross quarter points in the Celtic tradition when it was, but the veils between the worlds were thin or in that seasonal point. And so you could access other realms and dimensions more easily
Mm-hmm.
during the cross quarters. So we have that going on. And then on February 9th or 10th, depending on your time zone, we've got the new moon in Aquarius, and this will be the beginning of the Chinese New Year of the dragon. So of course we're going to talk about dragons again.
About dragons again. So if people were, how long is sort of the veils thin with this?
That's a good question. I would say at least 3 days, at the minimum 3 days. The day
Okay.
before the exact point, the day after the exact point, the day of the exact point. But you
Okay.
could even put a little bit more time around that. You could maybe put like 3 days before and 3 days after. It's a
Okay.
window of time. It's an energy of time, because it's approaching that exact halfway point. And it
Okay.
does, and we tend to be like into exactness,
Yeah.
oh, the exact 15 degrees Aquarius moment. But it's like the sun's coming into close alignment with that point for a few days before and is still there a few days after that
Mhm.
exact point. So we're in it.
Okay, so for people who are watching this, by the time you see this video, you've still got time to do any rituals that you want to do while the veil is so thin. It would be, you know, if you want to do
Yeah.
releasing rituals,
Oh,
since
and you're reminding me too of something really important, and that is that the Celtic cultures, they're so smart. They often use the new moon or full moon closest to the exact seasonal point. So that means February 9th or 10th, depending again on your time zone, it is the new moon closest to this cross quarter. So
okay, so great. So
that's like 5 days later. So yeah,
right.
so you can add that into your understanding, and then sometimes they'd use the new moon or full moon that was before that exact point and the new moon or full moon that was after that exact point and create a
Oh,
2 week window, and they do their celebrations over that time.
okay,
So
so there you go, folks. So if you want to get your the things for the waning moon in, now's the time. And then after
yes.
that moon, what you're going to be calling in up until the full moon. So basically, you've got lots of time to do your rituals.
Yes, and today is the last quarter moon. So and it's in Scorpio. Last quarter moon is
Oh,
Scorpio.
wow.
Very close to a star called Zubin el-Janubi that's in the constellation of the scales. Now, Scorpio is the seasonal sign, and the scales are the constellation that the seasonal sign is now occupying because the seasons change constellations over time. And it's very close to the cross quarter point of the um uh trying to, why am I just not, why did I just lose my thought about that? The November cross quarter. Um
Oh,
yeah.
mhm,
Ah.
mhm, mhm,
Samhain. There it is, Samhain. Yeah.
mhm.
So we have this last quarter moon that's very close to that point, with the sun getting very close to the exact cross quarter point. It's kind of this, it's a big day today. It's
It's a
also
big day.
bad.
It's a big day. Especially if we're talking about Scorpio. So deep-seated beliefs, things like that, that you want to end cycles to. This would be a great couple of days to do that work.
Yeah, and Scorpio is also where we tune into what we're really most alive and passionate about, what really gets us excited and lit up, and that lets us
Mhm,
know we're on the right track. If
mhm.
we're attempting to do something or setting intentions that are just kind of then
Yep,
that's not it.
yep,
Like,
yeah.
yeah, connect with what's really alive for you at this
Passion.
point. Yeah, as you're
Mhm.
getting ready to set up your, our the next 6 weeks before we get to the spring equinox. So pretty cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Great.
Hey, so do you want to draw some cards for us to help us tune into this time and see what energies are up and available?
Yeah. Okay. All right. What do I have to say about this time? What do you have to say about this time? Well, look at that. So we have the cardinal card. And so, of course, this resonates to all of the cardinal signs: Aries, Capricorn, Cancer, and Libra. And so our cardinal signs usher us into these new seasons, right? So Aries ushers us into spring, Cancer ushers us into summer, Libra ushers us into fall, Capricorn ushers us into winter.
In the
So,
northern hemisphere, just so you know,
oh
it's
yeah,
opposite in the
in the
southern
north.
hemisphere, in case anybody happens to be listening from down
Yes.
under.
Yes, that's right. I do have friends
Yes.
down under. And so this again is a time for starting new things, initiating new things. Again, it might not be the time to sort of rush full forward, especially because I like to work seasonally anyway. So this is technically winter in the northern hemisphere, and so this would be a time for planning and things like that. It is a time for pioneering. It does say pioneering spirit here, so, and it says bravery, so we should not be entering into, as you said, Kaylin, and even as I'm thinking ritualistically, as I always am, if we're going into ritual, we need to go into it brave. If we are, we don't need to be afraid. We don't need to have self-doubt. We need to be like full force, believing in ourselves, believing in our power, and believing in our energy and our own divine spark here as we move forward. Okay, we are initiating. We don't have to wait for other people to initiate us into things, okay, anymore. We can initiate ourselves into our next phase of life, is what I'm hearing. We have everything we need. I know people get tired of hearing that, but I'm going to keep saying it. We have everything we need to push ourselves forward, and because we have help. We have planetary help, we have our ancestral help, we have our spirit guides, so we can initiate ourselves into this next phase of life, okay? So if you were looking for a sign, should I do this thing? Here's your sign.
Beautiful.
Your sign. We should put that song in the show notes. So yeah, so it's an initiatory sign. Time.
Time and sign. The
Yeah.
sign is that it's the time.
Yeah.
I love that. All
Yeah.
right. And so, you know, here we are recording this as we're coming to the exact cross quarter. We're at the, as we said, the last quarter moon, coming to the new moon that's happening on February 9th, that will begin the year of the dragon. So how are we engaging that? And we've been talking about this in almost every video I've been doing. I've been talking about it because I'm kind of like geeking out on the dragon thing right now. I'm wearing my dragon pendant and
And I have my serpent earrings.
serpent earrings. That's so good. So I got inspired, and I don't even know how this came across my screen of awareness, but by these dragon cards. It's called the Dragon Oracle cards by Diana Cooper, and I've been really loving this deck. And I will. So I thought, well, I'll just draw a dragon card to see what dragon energy wants to be with us today. So this is something that Zoe, I usually leave to you, but hey, it's a dragon, so I guess I can do this.
Yeah.
So here's the card I drew for us is the Lilac Fire Dragon. And what it says is that it transmutes through the power of divine love and open up to transcendent love and enlightenment. Purity of heart brings peace, hope, and joy. And there's more, because it's this idea of enlightenment, powerful feminine energy. And Zoe and I were talking about this as we were getting started, or before we got started here, about how the dragon energy is really feminine. And part of the reason dragons were vilified was because it was the domination over the feminine energy. And so that was part of why that happened. And the ways they did that in so many other situations. But anyway, so when we invite the dragon energy back in to our lives, and we allow that, because that energy flows through our body anyway, and it's like the energy lines of the earth were called dragon lines. The energy lines in our body are like dragon lines. So this is, you know, so working with the lilac dragon, which is like similar to the violet flame, it can transmute and transform all the lower vibrational energies into the higher vibrational energies of love. And this is something we talked about the last time. We talked about the love, you know, how we're going to transform the world with loving kindness. And so just to follow up on that a little bit is that Peter and I were out for a walk yesterday in our neighborhood, and we passed this elderly gentleman and said hi to him. And he's probably in his late 70s, maybe his 80s. I don't know. He was walking kind of slow, but he was out walking. It was pretty cool. And so we said hi to him. And so then he said, hi, I'm Ron Johnson from Wisconsin. We were like, oh, that's so good. And then he handed us these little hearts. He makes these little heart faces, pens, and he handed one to each of us. And it's like he's spreading the love. I was just like, that is so cool. Like signs in the world of form. We've lived in this neighborhood 7 years, and nobody's ever offered us a heart before. I was like, okay, thank you, universe, for that sign. So, yeah. So it's all about the love. Again, we're just gonna energize that. And the lilac fire dragon is really all about the love as well. And how does that help us connect into the bliss of love, the ecstasy of love, the transformative power of love to change everything in our world. So with that, I'm handing it to you, Zoe.
So one thing that's striking to me as I pulled another card for how we can interact, and again, I'm going to just use the words initiate the dragon energy in our life. So we got release here.
Beautiful.
What are the things that we've been carrying? Again, we are still in this waning moon phase. So this is a great time to do ritual around releasing. What are the things that we've been just like carrying around? And we had two hands here, right? Well,
Oh, yeah.
three. So we have the power of initiation, that divine spark, and our hands can also release, right? And so the power is within our hands. I'm just full of puns and metaphors today. And so once we do that releasing, then we have the Eight of Wands, which we love, right? And so it's like all of those things that were on pause, all of those things that we were waiting for can actually come through, because the Eight of Wands is about news, it is about fast moving energy. And so, yeah, again, all we have to do is is initiate our own self, right? Release whatever we've been carrying. It's kind of like put it down, and then let this new energy come in. And what's interesting to me too, I always like to look at similarities. And so the similarities in the colors of the hands and the colors of the wands. And so it's almost like, again, drop these things that you were carrying so that you can pick up these other things. And these are the things that we really want. This is the news we want to hear. This is the world we want to see, right? Where you're walking down the street, somebody just gives you a lovely, heart pin or something. So we have the interactions that we want to have, because wands are about action.
Beautiful. I love that. The magic wands, 8 of them. So that we
Yeah.
can, so that we can put into motion what it is that we desire. And it is about action. Because if we don't take action, it's just an idea that never it comes to fruition or anything. So
Right.
yeah.
Right. And
Yeah.
we started with action with the cardinal signs. That's what they're known for. But it's like, how do we keep that momentum going? Because sometimes cardinal heavy people like myself, we might start things and then we kind of lose the excitement around it. So it's like, how do we keep going? How do we keep that internal flame, that internal fire going? Well, release, 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 release. Because sometimes it could be those things that you're carrying that's draining your energy, right? So then again, so that you have the strength to pick up these other wands.
Love that you said internal fire, because of course the dragons are often associated with being fire breathing.
Yes, exactly.
And there's water dragons and earth dragons and there's all kinds of dragons. So, but fire is the action element. It's the one that's about taking action and following through on something. So I love this. All right. I just want to say, from what Diane Cooper says in her Dragon Oracle, she says, the dragons are waiting to support you in your life, assist your spiritual growth, and illuminate your ascension path. They're waiting to support you in your spiritual growth and to illuminate your ascension path. That is just like, and because dragons have been kind of mythically more challenging, I think there's more stories coming out nowadays. One of my favorite, because my little kid just inside of me just loves this, was when the movie came out, How to Train Your Dragon, and then they did the TV series on the Race to the Edge with the dragon riders, the ones that learned how to train their dragons, and all of that. So they would play off of, there were people that were trying to capture dragons and enslave them, and then there were the people that were trying to make sure that the dragons were free and being honored for their gifts. So that's where we want to be with all of this at this time. It's like, okay, so how is the dragon energy showing up for you? How are you inviting that in to be part of the assistance as we're navigating this year of the dragon?
Yeah. And I have one more card because it was just like staring at me. And it was right under this Eight of Wands is the King of Wands. right? And so being bold, being a leader, being a mentor, all of these things are ways to unleash our dragon energy, our, being powerful, right? The time of like shrinking away is like, no, it is the time to step forward again with Pluto in Aquarius now, standing up for humanity, standing up for ourselves. This is the time we're in.
Yeah. Yeah. And with Pluto, it's shining a light on where that's not happening. And we could
Mm-hmm.
also imagine that Aquarius is about universal love,
Mm-hmm.
and that the love and perhaps also expanded states of consciousness and awareness that are based in love, not just the mental experience of that. So, what is in the way of that? And Pluto's here to help us. And we could imagine that dragon energy could be like the Pluto thing where it's just, putting the fire on it, doing the alchemy to transmute,
Yeah.
form, and change it all up. How cool is
Yeah.
that?
All this fire, I mean, all that we basically have all fire here.
Yeah, right.
So it's like, get going.
Yes. And so do you feel complete with what you have to share,
Yeah.
Zoe? Okay. So with that, we're gonna just wish you all a magical dragon year. Yay. And we'll look forward to connecting with you next time once we're fully in the year of the dragon.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. All right, y'all. See you soon.
Bye.